Hey! Welcome to WTOP here on DCRTV.com. How y'all doing, everybody? It's 1st of March. 1st of March, 2013. You know, not a bad February there. My birthday month, but usually terrible weather. And it wasn't too bad this February, at least here in the Washington area. No significant snow, so that's the way to go. Looking around at the Journo Weenie blogs this morning, and today or yesterday was Patrick Pexton's last day as the Washington Post Ombudsman. He writes a letter saying that he wants to thank everyone in the newsroom for treating him with respect and courtesy these past 2 years, and how the Post people are all consummate professionals. And he's also told us that he, in a previous little piece, he told us that it might be his last, might be the last ombudsman for the Washington Post. You know, honestly, I don't think it really matters. I've witnessed several ombudsmen there at the Washington Post in the last couple of years, and I don't know, this guy, I don't think he was the best. A lot of it, a lot of his stuff, I don't know. If you kind of do your criticism within your little limits there, and you don't want to step out of the box, And a lot of what he did praised the paper too, and I guess they deserve some of the praise. But I don't think I really, honestly, when you look at it, and I think the fact that the Post is declining as a great newspaper, that's the only thing they've done over the last decade. Do they really need an ombudsman anymore? Getting rid of that ombudsman is just another signal that this paper is no longer that good of a paper anymore. And perhaps it isn't. So, bye-bye, Mr. Patrick Pexton. Maybe you'll get a job over there at Patch or something. Interesting listening to Brian and Larry this morning on WMAL. They were really juiced. They got some link on Drudge for a couple hours yesterday. Wow! Now, here's this former Fox News reporter who's just tickled to death because he got a link on Drudge for a couple hours for his station's website. I mean, so what? If you're in the Washington media and haven't gotten a Drudge link, I mean, there's something wrong with you, right? I mean, it's easy to. I don't play up any Drudge links because basically that army of righty, morony nutcases, whatever. I just don't. I don't need them at my website. You get a Drudge link, and usually you get a Drudge link by slamming something that Drudge doesn't like somebody in the lefty media, somebody in the Obama administration. Fishbowl DC gets Drudge links occasionally because they do something where they slam CNN, and Drudge doesn't like CNN because it's a bunch of lefty eggheads, So it's fairly easy to get a Drudge link if you get a little piece of juicy gossip and you about CNN or the Washington Post or something like that Drudge doesn't like, and the lefty media, and you trash them a little bit. It's easy to get a Drudge link. You send an email to Joe Curl and he puts up something, and you get a whole bunch of wacko right-wing posts on your website, on your page for a couple hours, and then it all goes away. So what? You go, oh, I had the Drudge link. It's funny to listen to WMAL doing that today. I listen to the station, and I really think I just have to say this something's wrong with them. What's his name? Bill Bowling, or whatever the guy's name is. He's the Republican Attorney General, and the Republican Lieutenant Governor for Virginia, okay? And he wants to run for governor. But you have Crazy Ken Cuccinelli, of far right-wing Crazy Ken. Tea Party loved Crazy Ken, who's the Attorney General, and he's going to run for governor. So they're kind of vying for who's going to be the Republican nominee for governor against Terry McAuliffe, who looks like he's going to be the Democratic nominee. So obviously the conservatives are standing behind Crazy Ken Cuccinelli. Bowling is trying to run as more of an independent. He hasn't actually officially announced yet, but he's kind of, the rumor is he's going to be, do that and kind of take the mainstream kind of sensible people that don't like Terry McAuliffe, who's kind of a lefty Democrat, people that don't like Crazy Ken, who's a real righty Republican. So he's going to maybe run as an independent. And you listen to MAL this morning, and they did a little thing on him where they played a little bit of their interview with him the other day. Then they had like 4 or 5 calls, and they all trashed Bill Bowling. And then they went on and said, well, Bill, you shouldn't run. You know, it was done around the 7 o'clock hour, and it just was trashy radio. Yeah, it was like, I'm not wearing my boots today. I'm wearing, but it was like they had their big, Brian Wilson takes his boot and just goes whack to Bill Bowling. You know, he really got shabby treatment today. And that is WMAL. And it's funny because they usually reserve that for Democrats. But they actually did it to one of their own today, which is kind of shows what a crappy station they are. Some fairly big news. Gail Huff. Gail Huff, as you'll remember, is the wife of Scott Brown. Now, Scott Brown, remember after Teddy Kennedy died, they had some special election for his seat. You know, that had been held by Democrats for years and years. And here's this Republican, Scott Brown, comes along and gets the seat for a couple years. So he comes down to Washington. And his wife is Gail Huff. And Gail is a reporter for a long time at WCVB, the Hearst station in Baltimore. I believe it's an ABC affiliate. She comes down to Washington to be with him while he's here in Washington on the Capitol Hill in his U.S. Senate capabilities, and gets a job here at Channel 7, WJLA. And now that it looks like Mr. Brown is going to be running for governor, going back to Massachusetts, Gail has resigned her position here at Channel 7. So that wasn't unexpected. You know, if Brown had won re-election, she would probably still be at 7. So that's the big news. We broke it yesterday. Gail Huff has resigned from Channel 7. So there. Also, a little shakeup there at WPGC in the mornings. You know, they brought on a guy named Pablo a couple years I guess it was last year, to do their morning show. The station's really been struggling in the ratings. You know, PGC used to be a top 5, often a top station every, ratings book for years and years and years through the 1990s and much of the 2000s, early 2000s. Lately, the station has just been getting walloped. They're getting nibbled at by all sides. You know, they got KYS, their Radio 1's KYS really hitting them hard. Then they're getting nibbled to death by all these not adult contemporary, but contemporary hit stations that are playing a lot of that urban-y music, like Hot 99.5 and Mix 107.3 and Fresh 94.7. So they're really getting hit on all sides. And the morning show there hasn't been doing very well. So Free, DJ Free. Now, Free, you'll remember, took over the morning show after Big Tigger got the boot last year. Or what was that, in late 2011. She's kind of took over the show, and then they brought in Pablo. I believe he did some stuff out in the San Diego market and stuff like that. They brought him in to kind of, and the morning show just isn't catching fire. I talked to a lot of people who listen to the station. They just say the station just doesn't have the identity. It doesn't really click. So they got rid of Free, and now Sunny, Sunni, is being paired with Pablo. Okay, I have nothing against Sunny. I don't really know much about Sunny, but is it going to do anything? I don't know. Anyhow, so interesting to see what's going on with CBS there as they struggle with, so many of these stations, they just need to step out of the box. PGC has kind of lost their identity. Mix 107.3 has a limp toast identity. They need fixing. Fresh, again, these stations are just, they're not stepping out of the box, giving people a reason to really switch over from Hot 99.5 or some of the other, or KYS. Then they really need to do that. PGC has long needed complete re-imaging. Something they've needed to do for 5 or 6 years now, ever since Donnie Simpson got the boot. And, maybe they'll do that. But it's kind of like, again, I don't know what their earnings were this year, but even though PGC's ratings have not been so hot, it does make money. And for years and years and years, even though TOP is up there at $50 million a year in billing, PGC is around $20 million. Even though they're way below TOP, they're still the second highest billing station in the market. Now, will they be that in 2013? I don't know. But they're always a very good billing station. So again, even if your ratings sag, if your billing's good, hey. Jim Asendio. We also broke some news. Jim Asendio, he was the WAMU news director for many years. He's now a freelance anchor at Market Watch Radio Network. He's based here in D.C., not based at TOP, by the way. They have their own little offices. But he is heard on WTOP, doing business news, forecasts, and feature stories. And he's also heard on major CBS All-Newsers in places like New York City, Boston, Chicago, and Los Angeles. Amelia Siegel is joining Channel 4's weather team. She comes from Buffalo. She's a native of Frederick County, Maryland. You wonder, is Kim Martucci on the way out? Just wondering. Just wondering. All right, folks. And more. Oh my God. What the day's going to come when Sinclair is going to own every TV station in the country, right? They already own like 87 stations. They're buying like 40 more. Man, they already are going to be either owning or controlling 3 stations in Baltimore. Hunt Valley-based Sinclair buying 18 TV stations from Barrington Broadcasting Group for $370 million. Wow. Man, they're just buying them, right? I'll tell you, the local TV business is really changing, you know. You've got a lot of these small markets where one company owns 3 or 4 stations, and it's just whacked. You know, again, I guess they're battling what WMAL's battling, irrelevance. All right, folks. Thanks for watching Dave TV. Oh, check out our new sponsor. We got Glenn Hollis as a new sponsor for a couple months. 6 months, actually. So Glenn, remember Glenn? He used to do the Wash evening show there, the love song show. Really good guy, Glenn. He's up there in the Frederick County area, and he's bought an ad on DCR-TV. He does a love dedication show, 7 p.m. to 11 p.m., Monday through Saturdays, and it's on the intranet. He's got a website and everything, so you can check Glenn out at his cool website. And what's his cool website? It's glenslovededications.com. And there's the music. There it is. So when you're in the mood in the evening, check out Glenn. And he'll get you rocking and rolling in bed there. I like Glenn. He's a great guy, and it's a shame too that he isn't on the radio. But a website, you know, and you can pump that through your speakers. And hey, you don't have any corporate interference from Clear Channel there, so that's cool. glenslovededications.com, and he's on from 7 to 11 Eastern Time every night, Monday through Saturday. And he has a live show there, and you can also listen all day long to all the cool love songs. So if you're in the mood at 11 in the morning, glenslovededications.com. All right, folks, thanks for watching Dave TV. Live long and prosper.